Hey everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about powders, all the different types of powders, their effects, how to apply them and why you would choose different types of powders. They don't just come as a one powder thing. I've got a little bit of makeup on. I've definitely got to grips with the lip liner stain and I've balanced it with the Dior Lip Maximizer, which I think has made quite a lovely difference to my lips. Very happy with them today. How are your lips? Anyway, okay, so fine, let's talk about powders. I've just got a little bit of base on at the moment and it's just a nice reflective base. It's the Hydra Tint. I didn't want to go too much. I just wanted to sort of show you my real skin and just have a little bit of a glow to it, although the light is very soft today, so you won't see a huge difference. But I want to go through different types of powders and application. Now, let's start from the least amount of control that you need. So, if you are someone maybe with an oily skin, I think this probably only goes for people who have oily skin and combination skin. Two great tools to have in your makeup bag are the Blot and Blur Matte Stick by Nude Stick and some Tatcha blot papers. Now, I really like these. Blot papers are really great, especially for us as makeup artists. It's very common for makeup artists throughout the day to be touching up with blot papers because it avoids the makeup being built up on the skin, so that if your artist, for instance, is being interviewed under really strong lights or you're filming under strong lights all day, you don't want the skin to suddenly by sort of 4 or 5 o'clock to look really heavy. So you will just basically wrap a lovely blotting paper over a nice puff and push that into the skin, usually the kind of like T-zone area. It might be the top of the forehead if you're working on a man. Anywhere where there's shine, it just knocks back that shine, doesn't leave a residue. It's a really great tool, and my favourites are the Tatcha ones, and you can use any pad. But they're just a really great thing to have in your makeup bag if you're a makeup artist, or if you've got oily skin and throughout work you don't really want to have a lot of makeup on. Just great, just a touch up when you go to the bathroom. It just makes a big difference and your skin should feel nice and fresh afterwards. So that is brilliant. This is great, applying it even before you put your foundation on. It comes in a little stick, such a great applicator. Before you put your foundation on in those areas that you need to knock back that annoying shine, or afterwards. It's completely translucent, so it's great for any skin colour, any skin tone. And it just, again, just creates this soft, diffuse finish without the skin looking makeup evident. Because as I said, you don't want to keep on layering powder on powder because it just looks really heavy and cakey. And nowadays that is just not necessary. So I suppose that's the two lightest things. Let's carry on. So I've got two favourite translucent powders. Now you'll definitely know one of them. This is the By Terry Hyaluronic Powder. She doesn't smell. I don't know why I actually sniffed it. You'll know why. You'll know in a minute. Again, it's completely translucent and I love this because when you accidentally touch your face, you're like, oh, it feels really soft. And I love makeup that feels as beautiful as it looks on the skin, because it is a treat to yourself to put these products on your face. This is great for carrying around in a bag, great for any time of day, whether you wish to, great for any time of day. What do I mean by that? That's just a silly thing to say. Great for any time you want to touch up. If you apply, say with my number 6 brush, you could use this very lightly just over your eyelids, for instance, before you do your makeup. It's super light, it's not going to build up if you haven't got a primer or something, or if you want to just like touch and lift up. It's got no pigment in, so it's not going to give you any coverage. Oh, can you feel the sunshine? Yes. It just really knocks back the shine. So if you've got a dry skin, this is perfect. And if you don't want to conceal anything, this is also perfect. So that's a kind of definitely a great essential. One product that I love to use at work, I've loved so much that all the stickers and everything have come off. is, just get that a little tidy up, got a bit of eyeliner underneath it, is the Gelique Rose Finishing Powder. Now this again is completely translucent and it's loose. I would apply this very, very gently, just around that T-zone area, knocking back the shine. It smells of rose. It smells of rose, and if you're working with someone new, or maybe someone has been having makeup applied a lot throughout the day, there's nothing more reviving than just having a nice soft fragrance rather than the sort of wet greasy brush shoved under your nose, I'm sure. So I really love using this, and there are lots of comments from when I do because people are just like, oh, that smells nice. So it's just great to use that, especially with this type of brush, because it's really light. Again, if you needed more impact, when you apply any powder with a puff, you get a very solid finish, opaque look to the skin. So you can perfect the skin, you can really block the skin. So my skin is dry, so this guy, this little number 6, is the perfect touch-up perfecting powder brush. And I would just always use delicate light strokes in the areas that I need it, which is just really the front panel of my face, because my skin is so dry. Anyone with dry skin, just stick to a tiny little brush like this. You can go for something stronger and more pigmented, but still apply with this brush, because the finish that you get with the brush is much more delicate. If you're moving into a sort of like normal combination skin, and maybe you are working or being filmed in a room that's really hot, or you've got hot lights on your face, then you might want to change up and use a puff to really, really push that powder into the skin. It makes such a difference. And again, using a light powder, but having that kind of action of pushing the powder into your face gives you much more longevity, and the shine obviously doesn't come back as quick as it would do. So if you are filming or being filmed, or you know that you're going to get hot, whether it's due to nerves or the environment that you're in, or just your general skin tone, then just using a puff to press in your preferred powder is excellent. But these ones just knock back the shine. Moving on a little bit more, we're talking about powders that have really beautiful sheen to them, dimension to them. This is the Hourglass Ambient Ethereal Light. Again, it is completely translucent. They've got lots of different shades in this, and I would suggest, because it's a little bit denser than the By Terry, that if you do have a warm complexion, then get the colour that is correct for you. Because I think if you use that time and time again, it would build up and create a slight sort of grey hue to your skin, possibly. And because there's so much choice of colours, you'd get the right colour anyway. Really nice compacts. These literally last forever. The formulas are fantastic. I remember the first time that I saw one of the sales assistants, and his skin, he was Asian, and his skin was so beautiful, like literally like the sort of candlelight lit within finish, that I was almost transfixed with the way that he looked. And I just asked, what have you got on your skin? It's amazing. I think he had good skin anyway, but he definitely had makeup on. And he said, oh, it's the Hourglass Ambient Powder. This was many years ago. It was very soon after Hourglass arrived. And ever since then, I've thought, right, if I'm working under lights, these powders just really give, or I've got a complexion that's a bit dull and needs a little bit of a lift, but maybe it's just a little bit oily. This is really, really good, because it just gives that softness, that diffused light to the skin, which is brilliant. Swede, this is the shade in Light. Now this is a translucent powder. They also have different colours. So when you pop this on, I'm going to just pop it on. Maybe I'll do it with a puff so you can see. This is going to give you a really lovely I'm going to press it in right under my eye here. You can probably see this gives a really beautiful ethereal finish to the skin. I hope you can pick that up. I can in the mirror here. It's got much more pigment than the Hourglass and any of the other powders I've shown you. It's really good for setting under the eyes. It doesn't crease and it doesn't cake and it doesn't shrink the skin. You know how you can put a powder on and it kind of instantly looks a little bit pruny if your skin is dry, or the powder is too heavy, or you've put a heavy powder on a delicate area of skin. God, my gosh, there is so many different levels of like, but if and what and how. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here talking you through. So if you find that your concealer doesn't last very long, this type of powder, Lancome does one, Laura Mercier do one out, and Beauty Pie have got that beautiful one as well. Maybe I'll put that on my stories. That's a really great powder as well. So you can see just the softness in that. That was a really, really small amount. If I could try and load it on, it just gives a lovely perfected finish to the skin there and just great around the eyes. So that's Swede Beauty, and I believe they call it a miracle powder. A miracle powder. Well done. Okay, so next, and probably my most used powder, is the Airbrush Flawless Finish Charlotte Tilbury. I actually really love the earlier products from Charlotte. I think this powder is absolutely brilliant. It's well loved and used. This is the shade Fair, and it's wonderful in the fact that it is very finely milled. It's undetectable on the skin, but it has a little bit of coverage in it. So if you are wanting to, say, perfect the underneath of the lip here, you can see that it really gives a lovely polished finish to my mouth, but it doesn't look heavy. I love the packaging. I love that it's slim, it's refillable, and yeah, I can't fault it. This is the kind of like mid product of all the powders. And I can't say that you can just get this and you wouldn't need another powder, because there are so many different variables of the environments that you're working in, what style of makeup you're doing, and what skin type you have. So if you kind of like jot all those down, then you can hopefully work out which powder will work for you. Now, as you saw with my dry skin and a very delicate powder, I used my number 6 brush because I want something that's really, really light and soft. When I know that I want to target, just checking it is number 1. I always doubt myself on the numbers of the brushes. When I need coverage and I'm being very particular, like maybe around the nose or around the mouth, I want to be very, very precise on where I want to put the product, and that's why I would use a flat brush to place and to push the product in, and then you probably saw I just whisked it off, because you know you can spend a good amount of money on a powder and then sort of put it on and just sort of do that, and you haven't really given the powder much chance to kind of stay in place. So this kind of like flat brush is great for perfecting, also pushing and layering in the product, so it kind of sits in between a soft fluffy brush and a puff, for instance. So that's a really, really, really great tool. Also comes in a smaller version, which is really great for doing underneath the eyes here. If you're perfecting underneath a sharp line, for instance, or you want to use concealers, these are such great tools for any makeup bag for precision. And maybe you don't feel you need to be precise with your makeup, but as our faces get a little bit softer as we get older, it's nice to add a little bit of sharpness to our face. Maybe I'll do a half face makeup, then you can see the difference of all those tiny little things. Sometimes when it's all on one face, it's hard to see actually what's happened unless you do a comparison. Anyway, as usual, I go off topic. Okay, so my last two powders, this I get very emotional about. It's numbered just because it's come from my kit. This is the MAC Studio Fix. This is the first powder that I found. It is a powder foundation that concealed my acne when I had such bad skin for almost 15 years. When you want to conceal something, you need to make sure that it's flat. Anything that is super sheeny, shiny or glossy or glassy will emphasize that bump or irregularity in your skin type texture. So for all my spots, I couldn't have anything shiny. It had to be super, super velvety so that it just didn't look as bumpy as it was. And I would apply my foundation, my medium to heavy coverage foundation. And then on top, I would take this very heavy foundation powder. It is completely opaque. I say very heavy. It's just, you know, you can't see it. I'll put it under my nose here. I've got the redness here. Again, applying with my finger, it's going to give me, which I probably should have done a little puff, but you can apply it with your finger. I'll take the corner of the puff and I'll press that right in. You can see like how much it stained the skin. And I would put it on, and then I would take a soft small brush and then I would just buff the edges. Because what you want to do is you want to cover what you want to cover, but you have to be very careful of the different types of textures on your skin, because otherwise it will look blotchy. So whenever you're concealing something, you want to really get in to the area that you want to conceal. I just cannot pull my blinds down because I'm just loving this delicate sunshine coming in. You want to always make sure you cover that area, but then the outer areas around that spot, pigmentation, veins, whatever you're covering, needs to be softened. So when someone looks at you, they can't really see a patch with a hard edge because you've just softened around the edge, and that's key. And that allowed me to have the best skin I could possibly have because of this powder. And the shades are very, very yellow, and it's just been brilliant. I have them all in my kit. I absolutely love them, and they are sort of fail-safe. So if you do have issues with your skin and you do want to cover them up, especially if it's irregular texture, this is fantastic. So thank you, MAC. The next one is something that has been slightly improved, which is great. It's the Bare Minerals Bare Pro. Now this is a mineral makeup. It is a foundation and powder in one. Similar. I wouldn't use this all the way over my face, so I really wouldn't. It is too heavy, especially now at my age. When I was 25, you know, I probably could, but I would always push it in with a puff and then dance over the brush to kind of get a little bit of a softer look because it just looked so heavy. But this you can actually wear. It is slightly sheerer and more wearable, and it kind of balances and connects better with the skin. So it comes with a little flat puff. This is almost a little bit sort of latexy. It's not soft and comforting like the Laura Mercier one here. That's nice and big. So let me show you how it looks on the cheek. Very, very delicately. And around the pigmentation here. Bearing in mind I already have a base, it literally perfects the skin. So under my chin here, I can show you the difference that it would be compared to the Charlotte Tilbury. With this you can rub it in. I find if you sort of massage it slightly into the skin, it breaks down. And there's something quite lovely about pushing the makeup into your skin. I'm going to turn it over and use the clean part just to remove it from there, because I need to be quite firm because it is a solid finish. Great. Take it between my brows. Yeah, look at that. She is porcelain. I used to find that they just, the mineral makeups as a whole really just sort of flattened my face, which it has done. I'd love to put some blush on now. Let's take the Westman Atelier, which I had on pre applying all the powders. This is Coquette. It's a slightly sort of brighter pink, got a bit of pink in my top here. But I'm just going to add a little bit of light to that on my face here, which is a sort of different toned pink to my lip, but I love the freshness of it. The packaging of the Westman Atelier is absolutely stunning. I feel like an absolute princess and queen taking this out of my makeup bag and putting it on. It's a really lovely texture. It is pricey, but you're paying for the name, you're paying for the... Oh no, I've got to take the blush down. Oh, you're paying for that lovely magnet, and it's a really strong, that is a strong click. But all the colours are so beautiful and wearable and a pleasure to use. So if you enjoy spending your well hard-earned money on beautiful makeup and beautiful packaging, then I can highly recommend. Great. Okay, well, there we have, hopefully for me, quite a concise masterclass on powder, right? Just apply it in different ways. Be really aware of your skin type, aware of the environment you're in, so that you can choose the right powder to make your skin look perfect and hold the makeup beautifully and flatter your bone structure. So if you can, keep it nice and matte down the front, and then when you look at the side of your face, you get a nice soft little glow. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful, and tell me your favourite powders, and maybe I should do a budget powder one because I want to talk about that Beauty Pie one. Anyway, all the ideas, not enough time. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that for now. Lots of love. Bye.